every relationship for a Christian is an opportunity to love another person like God has loved us. All relationships out there, whether marriage, dating, friendships, family, whatever, for all Christian brothers and sisters, naturally, we should all be shining the love and light of Christ. It amazes me there's so many Christians that do rather the opposite, and that just turns people away. We wonder why there's so many unbelievers we know of. We have family and friends that are unbelievers. We wonder why that's such a thing. Well, you ever think that maybe it's because Christians have not shown the love of Christ, the light and love of Christ like they should be? We ought to be a beacon of light. Yeah, none of us are perfect. I get that. Many of my unbelieving family and friends have all said the same thing. Well, look at how much everybody argues over what they believe in. Look at all the corruption in the churches, all that. And the thing is, I can't deny what they're saying if I wanted to, because they're 100% right. It does happen. And it's so sad and so ridiculous. You ain't going to get anybody to convert sitting and arguing with somebody. And all this corruption that's in the church, in these churches, yeah, it's unreal. There shouldn't be corruption in God's house. That corruption that's been in God's house how many years is exactly why there's all the corruption in the White House, by the way. Because see, if God's house was fixed, the White House would get fixed. And don't worry, God is going to reclaim his country again. He is going to reclaim the nations that are faithful to him again. Rest assured. People sit here and wonder with all this corruption, acting like it's something new. Don't get me wrong, it got really bad within the past few years, but nonetheless, it's existed forever. And you know why? Because it's from years of everybody allowing it to happen. Nonetheless, though, getting back to what we're talking about, all relationships with everybody, it's an opportunity to love another person like God has loved us. Our relationships, our marriages, the Bible tells us, husbands, love your wives as Christ loves the church. And it amazes me, in worldly marriages, we see so much divorce and nonsense in marriages, narcissism, abuse physically or emotionally, and it's bad enough and sad enough when you see that happening in the world. But you know what? When you see the divorce rate in the Christian community is just as high, and you see that the reasons for the divorce in the Christian community are the same as in the world, cheating on each other, marital unfaithfulness, emotional or physical abuse, narcissism, all that. It's in the Christian community. No! See? You are in a marriage. God is in the center of that marriage as a Christian. And you know what? I can't help but think that there are some marriages that have taken God out of the center of it, and that's why they're failing. Or some people just were never meant to be together and they got married anyway. But nonetheless, the fact that all that's happening in the Christian community yet, and that's causing the divorce yet, is a bunch of nonsense. We should be shining the love and light of Christ to each other. And this judging non-believers, you can't judge a non-believer. Of course they're not going to listen to you. Of course you're not going to get through to them. They don't understand what you're even talking about. And you can sit there, and I see people do it, and all they're really doing is wasting their time and turning them away more. They're sitting there and arguing and getting till they're blue in the face and judging them. Like, no. See, the thing is, so many more would convert if the love and light of Christ was shown to them, rather than the arguing and judging of a non-believer. No, you can't do it. You're just wasting your time, and you're not going to get anywhere with that. but love all people just as God has loved us. Now that does not mean with toxic people, and this is something some people get mixed up and get themselves into sticky situations sometimes. This does not mean letting toxic people into your life, letting them destroy you. That's not what it means. But you should still love them, not show them hatred. Yeah, that can be easier said than done in some cases. Trust me, I totally get it. And if somebody's wronged you in the past, you best not hold a grudge against them. Unforgiveness is a big problem that actually is in the Christian community. And talk to anybody that does deliverance, that is in deliverance ministry, and they will tell you that is one of the biggest things that sets people back from getting their freedom, their deliverance, is holding a grudge or unforgiveness towards somebody. It doesn't get you anywhere. Jesus talks about that too in a parable, actually. And we'll read those verses another time as daily Bible verses and discuss that more. But we should love one another and shine the love and light of Christ. If you're a Christian, shine and show the love of Christ to other people. Enough of this judgmental nonsense. Enough of the religiosity. Enough of the hatred for people. I am so sick of it. No wonder we can't get people to convert, because so many people over the years have corrupted Christianity so much. And here's another thing, getting back to when people go about the corruption in churches and everything else. And I always tell them, I go, yeah, well, that's also man's doing. That's not God's doing. God is just as disgusted with it too, and knows that is something that is keeping people from converting. And it saddens him too. So just remember that. When people go about that corruption, just tell them. And just remind yourself, if you can't convince them, that's not God's doing, that's man's doing. And that is a big roadblock that the enemy has put in, one of many roadblocks, by the way, from people converting because of all that. It's such a distraction from the enemy, and it's so nonsense. But every relationship, friendship, family, relationship, dating, married, it's an opportunity to shine that love and light of Christ, to love another person just as God has loved us. Y'all have a great and blessed day. I love yous, and I'll talk to you soon.